So this is a cortisol curve, and I don't think I have a pointer where you can see it, but you see that green area? So cortisol mobilizes glucose so you have enough energy during the day, okay? So you should have a normal flow of natural energy where you wake up, glucose is rolling at its highest level, you wake up, you wash your face, you get your kids off to school, you get to work, okay? And now you can see around noon, if you see at the bottom, this is all a timeline. So at noon on the what is that, the x-axis, you see that you have a little crash. And that's why in most societies that don't, behave like us, if you go to Europe and you go to Mexico, between 12 and 2 o'clock is siesta time because that is a natural circadian rhythm that you get a little bit of a crash around noontime. And that's why you'll see shops are closed in Europe and in some other countries between 12 and 2 is siesta time. You eat lunch, you have a little siesta. And then you're supposed to, kind of slowly decrease your energy level. You get tired at night, you go to sleep, you get a good night, nice restorative rest. And the next morning, it should start all over again. Okay. That black line is the patient, okay? That light blue is when you're borderline low, and then the dark blue is when you're just totally burnt out. So she wasn't totally burnt out, but so now you can see that she has low energy during the day. Now look what happens at night. It starts to go up. So now she's starting to generate energy when she's about to go to bed. And if she even gets to sleep, if she does get to sleep, more than likely she's going to wake up around 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. I see this pattern all the time. Okay. And she wakes up because now her energy level is about where it was at 8 o'clock in the morning. All right. So she's got a big problem and she's never going to increase her energy if she can't sleep. If you can't sleep, nothing's going to get better. All right. So now let's go to the next slide. This is her estrogen and progesterone. All right, so estradiol, that top line, is the main estrogen. Okay, so it's 1.1, and you'll see if you go over and it says reference interval is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 little columns over. It says zero point 0.5 to 3.2. So she's in the normal range. So she's got enough estrogen. All right, her progesterone is 27. Because she's postmenopausal, they say that that's normal, but that is not the important number. The important number is that progesterone estrogen ratio, that third line down. That is what I'm talking about, balance. All right. Progesterone should be 200 times whatever her estrogen is. All right. So it should be a 200 to 1 ratio. So balance doesn't mean equal, it means in the proper ratio. Okay. Now, so if her estradiol is 1.1, if I want 200 times more than that, I'd say 1.1 times 200 would be 220. So for her to be in balance, her progesterone has to be 220. All right. And you see her ratio is 24.5. So she's 1/10 of what her ratio should be. All right. So she's out of balance. So she's going to have hot flashes, mood swings. And let me make this point. You don't have hot flashes because you don't have enough estrogen. As you can see, her estrogen is normal. You have hot flashes because your estrogen progesterone ratio is less than 200. Estrogen menopause is not an estrogen deficiency problem. That is what I was taught 30 years ago. All women needed estrogen. Then the Women's Health Initiative came out and it says, no, this estrogen is causing all kinds of problems. Not every woman is low in estrogen. All right. So estrogen deficiency does not cause hot flashes. I'm going to say it again. If you're having hot flashes, it does not mean you don't have enough estrogen. Do I need to say it again, Rebel?
I think you
because
do. I think you
because
do.
everybody thinks that I don't have enough estrogen. No, you are out of balance. Okay, you can have too much estrogen, be out of balance. You can have too much progesterone and be out of balance, and you're going to have hot flashes. I'm going to say it
What
one
is
more
that?
time. What is that?
What is
Hot
a hot
flashes?
flash? Yes.
Well, you just haven't experienced it, and I haven't experienced it. But women say that they feel like heat is coming in from the inside. It has something to do with how estrogen and progesterone affects the hypothalamus, one of these glands in your brain that controls temperature. And when that's out of balance, your temperature mechanism is out of balance. So they feel like it's a heat that's burning them up from the inside. You'll even see them become flush. And and their hair will start to get wet. They'll start fanning. Anytime I see a middle-aged woman fanning, I'm like, yep, her progesterone estrogen ratio is out of balance. I mean, I just
But
like that.
you're not talking about in 112-degree weather
No,
or
no, no,
anything
no,
like
no,
that.
no. That's saying the heat is coming from the outside. You know that. This is they can be in, and you can. These women will say they freeze their husbands out because they're in bed and they've got the air conditioner on 60. He has on a parka and a ski mask because it's so cold in there because she's feeling that heat from the inside. And they'll tell you that their sheets are wet. You just see. I know you haven't gone through menopause, or if you have, you've been able to stay in balance because they'll say, "Hey, I wake up and my sheets are wet. My husband, he has pneumonia because it's so cold in our bedroom." So that's what I mean. I mean, I'm not making that up. Those are true things that people say. So yeah, so that's what a hot flash is. But I was taught 30 years ago, see one, do one, teach one. All right, that all postmenopausal women have an estrogen deficiency problem. And that's just not true. So, all right, we got some time before the next commercial. All right, so now this is her initial problem. I think this was August, okay? And so now let's look at what we did. So what we did, we gave her, so first, so now we have a supplement called Adrenacare Glandular. It helps with the adrenal gland. The adrenal gland, that's what makes cortisol. Adrenal gland needs a lot of vitamin C. It needs B5 and B6. And I'll do a whole podcast on vitamin C. So vitamin C, B5, B6. All right. Then it needs these things called adaptogens. Adaptogens are these plants or herbs that help you better adapt to stress. Okay. So adaptogens are things like ginseng, rhodiola, ashwagandha, cordyceps. All of these adaptogens, they can grow in very harsh conditions, like high up on mountains or deserts, that they can withstand a lot of environmental stress. And they have something called heat shock proteins. And these heat shock proteins allow them to withstand extreme heat, extreme low oxygen levels, extreme cold, extreme wetness, or whatever. But these heat shock proteins, when you ingest them, you are able to take in those heat shock proteins. So it makes you more resilient. All right. So that's what we gave her. Now, sometimes if she was actually not in the same city I was in, so if you're in the same city, a lot of times we'll give you vitamin C IVs with B5, B6, NAD, all these things to help you to make energy. But she just took the supplement. And I told you with our supplement company, we like for you to only have to take one or two things. So the only thing she took was Adrenacare Glandular. And she took it consistently for 3 to 4 months. Now, she felt better in 2 or 3 months, but we just retested her about 3 or 4 months later, and you see her curve is all in the green. And she feels like that even though she's still taking care of her mother and she still has the same job and she's still doing the same whatever activity she's doing, but now she has the energy to do it because we actually repaired the damage caused by the stress. Her 53 years of life had beat her cortisol curve down, and now that we have revitalized it, she's back to normal. And you'll even see at night, instead of that curve going up like it was before, now it's going down. Now she sleeps fine. That was one of the issues, but now let's look at her progesterone. All right. So what did I do? I gave her progesterone. Now her estrogen went down a little bit. It went from 1.1 to 9, but that may have been because she lost some weight. All right. And her cortisol got normal. So now she's not making as much estrogen. So that means she doesn't need as much progesterone. Okay. Her progesterone is 222. They say that's too high for her, but no. Look at her progesterone estrogen ratio. Now we got it greater than 200. Now she doesn't have any hot flashes. She's able to turn her mind off and go to sleep. She feels back in balance again. Okay? So what did we do? She takes the progesterone at night. It helps to calm her brain. It makes her sleepy. So now she can sleep. If she can sleep, that helps her energy level. That helps her adrenal gland to recover so that she can wake up in the morning and have energy again. Okay. So we had to fix both of those for us to get the optimal outcome. And we never would have known that if we had have looked at her blood. Now, I think it's commercial time again. And when I come back, I'm going to tell you how when you don't understand this, it can cause all kinds of problems. We're going to talk about how blood lies to you, and those lies can be detrimental